By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how to remix using an acapella in Ableton Live. Even if you have absolutely no musical knowledge, you will learn how to time stretch the acapella so that it keeps a steady tempo. You will also learn how to determine the key of the acapella. I will also show you how to use the key to program the tracks so that no matter what you play, for example on the piano, it will sound exactly in key. You will learn how to construct chords for your remix so that everything is in tune. On top of that, you will learn how I've composed the remix from the drum tracks to the piano tracks to the vocal track. So thanks guys, let's get into it. Let's take a look at the first track. On this track is the kick, drum and the clap. I've used the Complete Control battery plugin for the sounds, in particular the In the House kit. There is a great sounding kick drum in the sound bank and the clap matches with it really well. Here. The additional plugin used on the track is simply an EQ that I've used to shape the sound to my liking. I have also boosted at 317 Hz. This is an engineering choice that I have made. Everyone is different when it comes to what they perceive as a good engineering choice. Over time, you will develop a liking for certain approaches in this area. Just keep practicing. The next track is a resample of the track that we have just looked at. The reason I have done this is because I wanted to use the kick and clap together to create a mini build-up. I find that it's easier to work with this on a separate track for EQ and automation reasons. To resample the track quickly to an audio track, just select Resample here, solo the track that you want to record, click the Record Enable button here, and simply record it in. You just need to hit the record button up top and just stop when you have enough audio. You will notice the track also has a sloping automation line here. All that does is ensure that the volume of the track reduces consistently as the part plays through. The reason for this is to ensure it fits into the mix. Automation is noticeable when you see this small orange button. You can also display all automated functions on any given track if you right-click here and scroll down to Add Lane for each automated envelope. The next track is the bass track. The sounds used in the track are taken from the same kit as was used on the first track, Complete Control's battery. In the House kit, the sound I've used for this part is a very warm and satisfying organ sound. I have applied some basic EQ to the track to shape the sound to fit into the mix. And you will notice here there is some sidechain compression. To achieve this, you load the compressor, open it here, tell the compressor that you want it to accept an audio signal from the sidechain track, which is simply a kick that I have loaded within battery. Let's listen to the difference with the sidechaining on and the sidechaining off. You will hear in the example it is very subtle, but certainly audible. When it comes to producing a successful track that people enjoy, it really is all of the subtleties on the track combined that create the overall impression on the listener. Let me explain in simple terms what the sidechain compression does. When the kick from the sidechain track is fed into the compressor, it tells the compressor to reduce the volume of the bass each time the kick drum plays, hence the pumping effect. Now, the degree to which the volume will reduce can be adjusted using the controls within the compressor until you find the correct level that you're happy with. The piano track is made up of 3 chords: A minor, D minor, and E minor. Fortunately, these chords were already pre-programmed into the kit. Again, it is the same kit that I am using here, the In the House kit. If you have no musical training, it can be very hard to determine the key of any given a cappella. Let me show you a quick and easy way to do this. Just go to hornetplugins.com and download the Song Key plugin. I have the Mark II version, but there is now a Mark III version. I do hear it is quite CPU hungry, so use it to determine the a cappella's key and then just remove it from the project. Or if you prefer, you can also go to tunebat.com, type in the name of the song, and it will just simply give you the BPM and key information. This is a slightly more limiting way to approach it, especially the BPM that's given, as it may not be 100% correct. Later in the tutorial, I will show you how to time stretch the a cappella so that it plays as fast as you want it to. There are many ways to determine the key of a song: key finder software, mixed in key, Tractor DJ software, and so on. Of course, you can choose whichever one works for you, but for the purposes of this tutorial, I will use the Hornet Song Key Finder. Let me show you how easy it is to determine the key of Loleatta Holloway's a cappella.
You got me burning up with your love sensation. Love sensation. Oh, love sensation. Love sensation. You got me burning up with your love sensation.
There you will see it clearly shows the A minor key, which is all we need to know to make a remix that is in tune. Now that we know the key is A minor, if you have no musical knowledge, let me show you how to program Ableton so that no matter what you play on the piano, it will always be in the A minor key. And therefore will be a lot of fun when you're trying to piece together a composition. Simply go to your browser and type in Ableton Live Scale Presets and download from gumroad.com. Then simply import them into a folder on your computer. Name it whatever you want, then create the new folder within Ableton, and you can access it from there. We just need to go to the A minor scale and double click. This will load a preset that means when we play a note on the piano, the note will always be in the A minor scale, which means you can focus on being creative without worrying about the notes being in tune. Fantastic stuff. The next part is to work out the tempo of the a cappella. The Hornet Song Key Mark III plugin can help you with that. I have not tried the Mark III yet, so I am unsure of its precision, but that might work for you. There are many ways to work out the tempo. Sometimes Ableton will time stretch it correctly to whatever tempo that you want, but sometimes it is not correct. Let me show you how I time stretch all a cappellas that I work with so that they fit into my production vision for the remix. Here is the a cappella in its raw form.
Love sensation. Love sensation. Love sensation.
Now, these orange markers will ensure that that part of the a cappella stays locked to the time grid. If you remove it, then this happens. I'm going to call it stapling for the purposes of this tutorial. So let's staple it back to where we want it. For this example, I will time stretch 4 bars at a time. Now, this can vary from a cappella to a cappella, but 4 bars is a good place to start. First, we want to mark 4 bars into the a cappella by counting with it. Mute the kick drum for this part, so let's count.
Love sensation.
2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Now that we have found the end of the fourth bar, or start of the fifth bar, let's compare it with the timeline. Now you will see here that the a cappella does not sync with the timeline. We want it to match the start of the fifth bar here. So create a staple point and drag it across until it lines up. So let's have a listen.
Love sensations. Love sensations.
Okay, so you can hear it is still not sounding synced up. Maybe this staple is causing the problem. So let's remove it.
Love sensations. Love sensations. Love sensations. Love sensations.
Okay, great. Now the a cappella is starting to sound more synced to the kick drum. I think I might just adjust this last part so the third syllable lands on the fourth beat of the fourth bar.
Love sensations. Love sensations.
Fantastic stuff. It sounds great now. So let's move on to the next four bars. The sound of it.
Love sensations. You got me burning up with your love sensations.
Okay, so you can hear the a cappella is much too slow. We need to speed it up. So staple the end using an orange marker and drag it to the left to speed it up. You would drag it to the right to slow it down. So left in this case. Let's try it. Here we go.
Love sensations. You got me burning up with your love sensations. Love sensations. You got me burning up with your love sensations.
Okay, so generally it does sound much better now, but the end section isn't synced correctly. So what I'm going to do is staple all of the parts that fit well first, so that these will stay synced to the track. Let's try moving this staple left to speed it up, because the end section seems to slow down.
Love sensations. You got me burning up with your love sensations.
But still a little out of sync.
Love sensations. You got me burning up with your love sensations.
Nearly there.
Love sensations. You got me burning up with your love sensations.
There we are. Great stuff. It sounds well synced now. So let's listen to the whole 8 bars now.
Love sensations. Love sensations. Love sensations. You got me burning up with your love sensations.
Okay, so maybe just need to adjust the start of the 5th bar and that should be it. So let's listen now.
Love sensations. You got me burning up with your love sensations.
Fantastic. So now it's synced well to the kick drum. Okay, so just repeat these steps the whole way through the a cappella and it will be ready for production. Now that you know the key and have successfully time stretched the a cappella, let me show you how to then use a chord machine to generate the chords within Ableton. Simply download this chord machine, the link will be made available to you. Load it onto the track and just choose the A minor chords, and it is as simple as that. Let me show you how it works. Now let's take a look at the vocal tracks.
Love sensation. Oh, love sensation. Love sensation. You got me burning up with your love sensation. Sensation.
You will see here that I have duplicated them. Again, this is just a mixing choice for this particular remix. You don't need to do something like this on every track that you produce that has acapellas or vocals. The first plugin I have used here is the GT Supercharger. You will see that I have just compressed it slightly to control the dynamics and also added some brightness, which is really just boosting the higher frequencies. I have applied some EQ here to shape the vocal. And here you will see that I have used some linear phase multiband compression, which is mainly focusing on controlling the frequencies that exist above 2K or 2000 Hz. I will explain the use of multiband compression later in this video. It is a more complex plugin, but simply I am just controlling the volume of the higher frequencies here.
Love sensation. Oh, love sensation. Love sensation. You got me burning up with your love sensation. Sensation. Love sensation. Oh, love sensation. Love sensation.
It is subtle, but it's certainly audible. Without this multiband compression here, you can hear that the audio clashes slightly with the piano in the overall mix. So this is helping the mix to sound better. The second track has been compressed slightly and also EQ'd to taste. And you will also see I've added some slight saturation. The sample drum is simply a short loop that runs continuously through the track. I've rolled off some of the bottom end and boosted some of the higher frequencies to ensure it fits neatly into the mix. I have duplicated the sample drum track here. The purpose of this duplication is a mixing choice. You may find at different parts in the track arrangement that you will need to apply differing levels of EQ, volume, or sometimes other parameters to the same part. Now in this case, the sample drum required separate treatment at the breakdown to ensure that it basically mixed in well at those parts. Here I have created a snare track. The main purpose is for the build-up. To achieve this, I've simply loaded battery within complete control and chose the 909 multiple kit, which has some nice snares. I have then added the arpeggiator alongside it and automated the arpeggiation rate to create the rolling snare that gets progressively faster. So it goes from an 8th rate right through to 32nd. There, and then 24, and then we'll just play. You will also see I have automated the volume of this track to slowly attenuate or reduce as the roll quickens. This was because the roll gets progressively louder as it proceeds to the main section. The reduction in volume ensures that it fits nicely into the mix. The crash I have used is one that I use on almost every track that I produce. It's just a basic stock Appleton crash. And the fill sample was just taken from a sample pack. It is of course possible to make your own fills, but sometimes to keep the creative flow going for small parts like this, it can be quicker just to use a sample. You will notice here that I have also routed most of the tracks to the filter track. I have done so I can filter any section of the track at any point. This really helps to create some dynamic within the track, before breakdowns and just before leaving breakdowns, for example. You will hear here that the bass disappears. I have done this with the automation drawn in here, which just simply tells the high pass filter to cancel out the low end frequencies. And here we have two effects which I have included to help the build up sound more interesting, and also to add some extra smash when the breakdown comes in and out. The auxiliary track has been used to introduce some subtle sidechained reverb. Now this is achieved by loading a reverb box. In this case I have used the RC24. I have also loaded a sidechain compressor which is routed to receive the kick drum sidechain, exactly how I showed you earlier in the video. And you will hear the reverb then pumps to the beat. Along the chain you will see I have compressed the signal and also EQ'd the signal. Again, this is just to sculpt the frequencies so they fit within the mix. You can hear from the reverb track that the bass is present and also some of the vocal. This is achieved by adjusting the amount of signal that you wish to send to the auxiliary tracks here. The auxiliary tracks aren't always necessary, but for the purposes of this track, I felt that this auxiliary track added some subtle reverb. I really do hope you enjoyed this video and that you've learned something that you can then use in your own productions. I'll see you guys in the next one.